Legalism can be best described as any teaching that says that in order for you to be seen in a positive light by God, that in order for you to have your relationship fixed by God, that you must do something, that there is something that you can contribute to God wanting to be with you more, or that can contribute to you finding belonging in God. Legalism, in theological terms, can be described as any belief that places human action as a mode or as a method for attaining the forgiveness of sins. Another way of thinking about it is that by doing the right thing, you can enter heaven. That people who go to heaven are people who lived a good life. All of that is legalism. And from looking at it from a theological perspective, the idea of legalism can very easily feel like nothing more than that, a doctrine, a doctrinal variant, or a doctrinal problem, something that doesn't have an application in the real world. But I'd like to show you, invite you to think of what legalism does to people and why I have made it one of my primary missions in this channel to uplift Jesus at the deliberate expense of focusing on the law or focusing on human action. When you are depressed, you lose a sense of joy, but you also lose a sense of anger. You lose a sense of a lot of things. In many ways, depression is like being stripped of all of your emotions, or being stripped of your ability to feel, your ability to care. And it's not apathy in the sense of, do whatever you want, I'm going to do my own thing. It's, I don't have my own thing. What's the point? For anybody who has been depressed, or if you're depressed right now, I want you to know that Jesus sympathizes with you. He sympathizes with you in the sense that he knows what it's like to be numb, to feel hopeless, to feel like, what's the point? The Bible says that he has been tempted and tried in all ways as we have, but he's overcome. If you have a friend who is depressed, please encourage them. The reason why legalism matters is because somebody who is depressed, who has a friend who is legalistic, might hear them say things like, you've got to work hard at this. If you just sing more, if you just smile more, if you just thank God more, if you just pray more, then things will get better. And to say things like, you've got to stop expecting heaven to hand you a ladder to get out of this hole, and you've got to work hard, and you got to claw your way out. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This is legalism talking. The idea that somehow the problem of sin, the problem with our hearts and with our minds, can go away by human effort, and it cannot. If you have, and someday you will, a friend or a loved one, a family member or a child, or a parent who struggles with depression, please do not throw them down like that. Please remember to encourage them as Christ encourages us. Please remember that God takes an active, proactive role in the life of a person, not waiting for them to get better. Because God did not send his son to die for us after we had reconciled to him, after we had made an effort. But God takes the first step. While you and I were still sinners, God died for us. On top of this, if you know you are working with someone who has been abused, who has fallen to addiction, and on top of all of this is being crushed by the weight of depression, it's time that you are there for that person. My encouragement to you is that you will not do things because you're trying to help them. Because if there's anything that hurts more when you're depressed, it's the feeling that you're a burden, that other people pity you, that they're just there because they want you to get better, because they're afraid of the depression that you carry. What people who are struggling need is people who care about them for them. Please. As someone who has struggled, care about the people for the sake of them, just because you want to be with them. If it's your child, spend time with them because you want to be with them. You may not have them forever. If it's your wife, if it's your husband, your parents, church member, ask about them for them. Ask questions that you're curious about who they are. Ask them about who they are, not just about how they're doing. It's an easy mistake to make. We often are checking in on people and we think we're doing the right thing, and we mean well by popping in and saying, hey, I'm just checking in on you. How are you doing? Are you still struggling with these things? It's an easy thing to do, and there's probably nothing wrong with that. But if that's the only reason we're popping in, if we're just checking in on our friends that are struggling because we want to make sure they don't commit suicide, or because we want to make sure they don't relapse, or because we want to make sure that they don't make a mistake again, we've missed the point, and they will see right through that. We may be doing it in love, but the thing that you and I do in love to help, the demon that they wrestle with can twist into pity, into contempt. There is hope in Jesus Christ and in nothing else. As a Christian, I believe that. As a minister of the faith, I preach that. My reminder to you is that your Christianity is being called to be more than just beyond a political affiliation. That it's beyond which day you worship on or rest on. It's people. The majority of the commandments in the 10 Commandments found in Exodus 20 and in Deuteronomy 5, more than half are about people. 4 were reserved for God. Arguably, 3 of them, and 1 of them was technically for us. Self-care through the Sabbath, to rest, and to cause others to rest, to not contribute to the burdens in their life. That's all I wanted to share with you. That's the reality of legalism. Legalism causes us to be unsympathetic to people who are struggling, thinking that if only they would exert a little bit more effort, then maybe they will dig themselves out of this hole, and then they'll be better. No, friend. The Bible always describes grace as being a gift of God that is undeserved, unmerited, that does not wait for us to get better. It takes initiative. We need to start reminding people that God is ready to take action for them, even if they can't make action for themselves. Thanks.